Hey guys, how's it going? It's Joe. I'm in my garage here. And my garage is where all the action happens, as you can see back there. But what I have gotten recently is, I'm going to show you right here. I got myself a brand beer fridge. And I had a little like weenie beer fridge, but it just wasn't holding enough beer for me and my friends. So I picked this one up roadside. It needed some work. I got it working again. But it just looks so like lame. I can't have a white refrigerator in my shop here. I mean, if you look at my shop, it's not going to go with the shop at all. So we're going to have to do something with this fridge to make it totally interesting. So the first thing I did was I went to go see my neighbor next door. And what he does is he makes things out of metal. Look him up on Facebook. Gearhead Productions. Gearhead Creations. And he does great work. So I told him I wanted some interesting looking handles for my refrigerator. And here's what he came up with. Okay, these are going to be the new handles for the refrigerator. He made them out of some old wrenches and some gears and some valves to a big block. One's for the freezer, one's for the fridge. Those are going to be the handles. And the outside of it is going to be done with a wrap for a gas station gas pump, Texaco station specifically. So I'm going to be doing a Texaco gas station on the refrigerator with those handles. But first we got to get this thing ready. I notice there's like a dent over here, which we can fill. And there's this lip in here, which I think I'm going to fill with something else. Want to make it flush, got to take this little thing off too, this little Kenmore thing. So we're going to prep this thing first. And I'll show you what we're doing step by step. So to fix the dent on the fridge, we're going to use some old school water putty. Now, I don't know how many guys still use this stuff, but I love this stuff. It works really good. Basically, what you do is just put a little bit in a little plastic container with some water, mix it up and apply it, and it dries really hard. So I'm just going to use a little bit, and we're going to do it like we do body work on a car. Just put a little bit on there, skim it, and sand it down a little bit. When you're mixing it, you want to use very little water. You want to get a nice thick consistency like this, like a putty almost, because we're going to trowel it on with a putty, and we're going to use like a taping knife to finish it off. And here's the dent in question right here. It's a decent sized dent, but we're going to trowel it here and smooth it down, and then we'll sand it. And that's it. We just put a little bit on there, troweled it on. For our purposes, that's perfect, because we're just going to be putting a skin over this, and just to keep it flush so it doesn't have any indentations. Now we've got to work on this piece up here. This is the grip area for the refrigerator. So my idea on this one is I'm going to fill this in with spray foam insulation, and then I'm going to sand it down so it's flush. So I've never done it before, but you know what? What's the worst that'll happen? I think it may be time for a beer. What's this? My girl's putting pickles in my beer fridge. Hey, honey, no pickles in the beer fridge. So now what I'm doing is I'm cutting a little piece of cardboard from a box here, and I'm going to kind of make a little form with it for the spray foam insulation, sort of like when you pour on concrete. And I'm going to use a piece of cardboard. Just on a very quick note here, guys. I don't know if you guys ever use these Ofla knives. These are the absolute best knives going around, if you ask me. I got two of them. I got a small one like that, and I got a big one like this. These are by far they're very good knives. I mean, I've had these for a while, and the blades, you can get them. I think they're made in Japan. It's really a good product. But anyway, so we're going to get this little piece of cardboard, and we're going to attach it to the top of the refrigerator so it'll hold the spray foam insulation in. So here's what I did with the cardboard. I taped it to the top here, and this area in here is what we're going to fill with the spray foam insulation. Before we do anything else, I think it's time for a beer. I think we're going to have a beer before we do anything else here, so we make sure we do this correctly. So before we do the spray foam insulation, this stuff I'm using, let me just say a word about this stuff. Wear gloves. This stuff is horrible on your hands. This stuff doesn't come off. It's on your hands for like days. I hate using this stuff, but it works really well. This can in particular here, I used it like about a few months ago, and I took the tube off. I know you can clean the tubes out, but I'm too damn lazy to do something like that. So I'm just going to use it just like this. I'm just going to basically put it in there, squirt it in there, and we'll see what happens. Should be fine. Okay, and that's what it looks like. You can see I put the cardboard on top. It's squeezed out a little bit, and I'm going to wait for it to dry. And when it's almost dry, I'm going to pull the cardboard off so it doesn't stick too much to it. And then I'm going to sand it down, and we won't have that edge anymore. And as you can see, my water putty here is close to being dry already. So I'll probably look at this again tomorrow, and I'll be back tomorrow. Alright, it's dry, and I'm starting to cut the stuff off. As you can see, I just made the first cut over here, little flush cut here. I'm going to cut it down. I pulled the cardboard off. Some of it came off, but we're going to take that off now, and we're going to just use a knife and just do a little bit of artwork to cut it all up and get it flush with the top. Now that it's cut down somewhat, I'm going to use a sanding block to finish it off a little bit. It does not have to be perfect because the skin is going to cover it. And that's tape I put over the bottom there before we did it. And let's give it a quick sanding and take the tape off, see what happens. All right, and now we're pretty much done here. So the handle part is filled in. There's a little bit of residual cardboard up here, but that's going to make no difference because we're just going to fold the film over it, and if we have to put a tiny bit of glue on the film there, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to bring it down from the edge up here, and we're going to bring it straight down to here. Start over here again, bring it straight down to the very bottom edge. So maybe tonight I'll do it, who knows, if I feel ambitious. Okay, it's been about a few days, and my decal skin for the refrigerator has showed up. It came in 2 days from Moldavia, which is amazing. So this is what we're going to be putting on here, and I'm doing it on the kitchen counter. We're going to be cutting this into 2 pieces because there's the freezer top and then the refrigerator top. So we're just doing some quick measurements, and then we're going to cut it, and we're going to do the refrigerator part first, the lower part. All right, this is the first one I'm putting up here. I'm putting the bottom of it up first. We cut it to 41 inches, I think. And we're going to start from the bottom and go up and do the refrigerator section first. So the way to do this, it's a 2-person operation. One person smooths it out, and the other person holds it. Hold up the tool you got there. It's a little wallpaper tool, seam tool. So we use that to just use it as like a squeegee to push it on properly. All right, put your hand down, honey. And now the bottom is pretty much on. We got to just finish the bottom and bring it up to the top. All right, the bottom piece is on. It wasn't too terrible. Now we're just going to measure out the top piece. All right, the top is on. And if you have air bubbles, just get a pin, make a hole, and push them down. So far, it's looking good. A couple imperfections here and there, but hey, you know what? It's a beer fridge. Next come the handles. And next comes the handles. So these are the handles we got made at Gearhead Creations, and we're just gonna put them on the fridge like this, and just gonna cut out a little circle, and then we're gonna use some plumber's epoxy or PC7 to stick them on there. What we use is some double-sided tape. We put it on the back of the handle, and we put 2 pieces on the back of the handle like that, stuck them on the fridge, put a washer on there on top of that, and now we're going to cut a little circle around it. It's going to be smaller than the old valve here, and then we're going to stick it right on the fridge. Okay, the holes are done, so we're going to use the epoxy to adhere the handles right to the refrigerator. And now we wait for the adhesive to dry.